I'm passionate about the JWB, I think, because my parents were both Holocaust survivors, and all of my parents' friends growing up were survivors. And whenever I had a chance, I would talk to them about Europe, and I would talk to them about America, and every conversation was always about what a great country America was, what a great opportunity it had given them and their children. The manifestation of my father's feelings, I think, more than anything else for America, was his liberation from Buchenwald at the end of the war. My father was fortunate. He ran away and he was hidden. He fought in the underground. He was hidden. He ran away again. He got captured. His story is the most amazing story. All the survivors had amazing stories. They didn't survive unless they had an amazing story. But I remember him, telling me that when the Third Army, when he was liberated, he said there was this massive arrival of trucks with food and doctors and clothing and blankets and nurses and chaplains, rabbis and priests and ministers. And he said he fell in love with America that day because not one ever asked him, "Who are you? What's your name? What's your religion? You're a Jew, you're a Catholic, you're a Protestant." The Americans never did ask who they were, just started treating everybody. And my dad said, "I fell in love with America that day." He said, "What kind of country produces people like that?" That leaves an impact on you. And I felt very strongly that I wanted to do something to give back to America. And then when I learned about the JWB and I learned about the work that it was doing, and I always knew there were Jewish men and women in the armed forces, I just felt like I wanted to do something for them. And we were at a biannual convention. The person that spoke talked about the need to acquire, first to write and then acquire these small Torahs so that they could carry them in battle. And I remember the person telling this story about how when the first one of these small Torahs had been completed, one of it was assigned to two Marines to take the small Torah to the Middle East. They said to the rabbi, the chaplain, when they asked about what was in this box, there was a box and it was taped shut and it said military hardware secret on it. The rabbi said it's a Jewish sacred scroll, and trying to explain to him what the Torah was. And both of them said, "Don't worry about that." It still brings tears to my eyes today when I think about it, because to me it represents what America is. They said, "Don't worry, nothing's going to happen to this while we have it. It will be protected." And I just thought to myself, that spoke volumes about what America meant, that two non-Jewish Marines were going to protect this Jewish Torah so that it could be sent to the Middle East so that the rabbi could conduct services for Jewish men and women in the armed forces. And it contrasted to my father telling me as a boy growing up how nothing was sacred in Poland that was Jewish. And that just, for me, just was the perfect thing. And when I learned that the JWB wanted to acquire more of these, I told Nancy, I said, I'm going to buy one of these, and we're going to dedicate it to these men that were really important in my life, who I really admired, who were all World War II combat veterans, who were the late Father Allen, his late partner Arnold Fierstein, a man by the name of Leonard Jaffe, a man who was a pilot in the Navy, Irv Berg, who was a bombardier navigator in the Army Air Corps, Isidore Myers, who was a sergeant in Europe in battle. All of them saw combat, all of them were Jewish, and I just wanted to do something that connected them to this Torah. They were all alive to see the Torah started, and then some of them were not alive, unfortunately, when it was given to the chaplaincy corps. And it accomplished something that I always wanted to do. I wanted to connect my mom and dad somehow to this. That's why we're friends of the JWB. We feel that this represents for us some sort of small thank you to the men and women who liberated my parents, to their successors that liberated my parents and liberated other survivors. That's the reason.